Jesus came to the home of Mary, Martha, and Lazarus on a casual affair. And he came unexpectedly. So the first thing I want to talk about is Jesus came to the home to visit Mary, Martha, and Lazarus. And he came on a casual. That means he didn't come looking for anything, didn't come to receive anything, to give anything. He just came to visit on a casual affair. Amen. There are many times in our lives that we have went to visit friends, or we stopped by other people's houses, somebody you know, or somebody you might not have known, but you just went to see how they were doing. You just went on a casual visit. Here it says here in Luke 10:38, it says, "Now it came to pass as they went, that he entered into a certain village, and a certain woman named Martha received him into her house." That's our scripture reading this morning. But it goes on to say, "And she had a sister called Mary, which also sat at Jesus' feet and heard his words. But Martha she was more of a casual person about serving. She came to him and she said, "Lord, doest thou not care that my sister has left me to serve alone? Be it her, therefore, that she help me." As we had just heard me say earlier about church and servanthood, that we all supposed to be serving, working in the house of the Lord. But on this occasion, Mary was spending time with Jesus, and Martha was doing all of the work. Hopefully you all can get a chance to see sometime maybe why Pastor felt the way he did this morning, because here it is in the scriptures. Jesus is saying that my sister has left from serving. She ain't helping me clean the house no more. She not helping me get the food together no more. She not helping me serve. So I'm doing this all by myself. The scriptures doesn't say how Martha went to Jesus. They don't say if she went upset or she went casual. It doesn't say. It just says, but she did go to Jesus. Amen. And made him aware that they're not helping. Amen. This is what Pastor's saying this morning. Yes. Seems like, God, I'm doing this all by myself. They're not helping. Yes. Amen. Jesus answered and said unto her, "Martha, Martha, thou art careful and troubled about many things." Maybe that's Pastor this morning. John, maybe you're careful and you're troubled about many things. You're troubled with the church. You're troubled with the people. You're troubling yourself with them not helping, not serving, maybe not doing it the way you feel it should be done. Amen. But here we go in the 42nd verse. It says, "But one thing is needful, and Mary has chosen that good part, which shall not be taken away from her." Mary was not helping Martha, but Mary was helping Jesus. And that's really what I want to emphasize on this particular topic, is if you're not helping somewhat in areas that help is needed, I do pray today that you are at least helping Jesus. Amen. If you're not helping Pastor, at least be helping Jesus. Amen. Mary wasn't helping Martha, but she was helping Jesus. We know that Jesus was uncertain on this occasion. Remember that he didn't let them know that he was coming. He just popped up. Something like this morning. None of us was ready for what happened this morning. It seemed like when me and First Lady got up this morning, something happened that was unexpected. Her and I did not come to an understanding. We just came to a misunderstanding because it happened so unexpected. Yes. Instead of dealing with the issue, I left the house and went on to the church, calling myself to drive on to get to the church. And after that situation, I run into another situation about the van happened unexpected. Some of y'all are looking at me this morning, so maybe the Lord is taking this time for me to preach this word on this type of situation. Maybe God himself allowed everything to happen that even I could feel this in my message. Amen. But different things kept popping up this morning, unexpected. And when things happen in all of our lives that's unexpected, the more it seems like when I get this fixed, here comes something else. And when I get this fixed, here comes something else. And I don't know, whoever we are as human beings, we only can take but so much. Martha could only take but so much because she felt like, Mary, you and I both agreed to do this party or this affair or this dinner, but when Jesus showed up, you stopped helping and start talking to Jesus. Number one, I want to say perhaps Jesus was self-invited guest on this occasion, as living in a way of grace unto God. Jesus, he invited himself. He has a tendency of doing that to all of us. Jesus will sometimes not make us aware, but he will come into our lives and just unexpectedly invite himself. We can't assume that Jesus invited himself into the home of the people, because by doing so, he could bring God's blessing to them. I believe today Jesus unexpectedly invited himself here that he may show all of us God's blessings in our situations. Because I don't care who you are, all of us are going to have some trials and some trying times. Perhaps Jesus had a standing invitation. Somebody don't know what that means. That means maybe they had already invited Jesus, but maybe the actual time had just came. There have been many of us, next Saturday, I have to go to a standing invitation. My daughter graduates from ODU. We already knew that she was graduating, but on next Saturday, we have to go because there's an invitation for us, or should I say, like to keep it personal, for me to be there. Jesus had a standing invitation to be at the home of Mary, Martha, and Lazarus. Amen. It would be beautiful to think that he did. Because sometimes there are people today, we could just keep it 100, that if folk pop up at your house unexpected, sometimes we get upset because we will say, so-and-so at the door. I wish I had some real folk in here today. And you would say, they didn't call me, they didn't tell me they were coming, they just popped up. Unexpected. The way trials and tribulation and life's situations sometimes in our lives pop up. Unexpected. Second thing I want to talk about this morning, that Jesus came to the home of Mary, Martha, and Lazarus at a time of sorrow. Not only did he pop up unexpected, but they were going through a sorrow. Now, a certain man in John 11:1, it says, a certain man was sick, named Lazarus of Bethlehem, the town of Mary, and the sister of Martha. It was that Mary which anointed the Lord with ointments and wiped his feet with her hair, whose brother Lazarus was sick. Another occasion, I told you, he came 3 different times. One time he came unexpected. They were getting ready, trying to clean the house, and he popped up unexpected. But on another occasion, he popped up at the same house during a time of sorrow. Jesus, therefore, his sister sent unto him, saying, Lord, behold, to whom thou lovest is sick. When Jesus heard that, he said, this sickness is not unto death, but for the glory of God, that the Son of God might be glorified thereof. Now Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. When he had heard, therefore, that he was sick, he abode 2 days still in the same place where he was. You've heard the story before. Jesus had gotten word that Lazarus was sick. And they wanted him to hurry up and get there and that he could fix the problem. Maybe sometimes I want to feel like preaching this morning. Maybe Pastor could feel the same way. I can feel like, you know, God, can't you see the situation? Can't you see what I'm going through? Can't you see the church trials, tribulation on every hand? Here's Mary. Keep in mind that I don't want to get ahead of myself, but here's Mary who had stopped. I told y'all in the early part of the lesson that he popped up unexpectedly, and Mary was so overwhelmed with Jesus coming that she stopped helping her sister to sit down and entertain Jesus. And now here we have another time he comes that the sister is upset now, the same one who talked to Jesus and didn't help her sister get the house right. Now she's upset because I sent word that my brother's sick and you didn't even come. You didn't even show up. Where is Jesus? You know, you know how we get. Let's keep it 100 in here. We know how we get as people. If I do something for you, I'm expecting that when the time comes, you're going to repay me with the same favor. Mary was probably going to get water for him and talking to him and listening to everything he had to say. And her sister was back there complaining, why you don't help? And why this going on? And why that going on? And she sat here entertaining, because he was a guest at her home. She was entertaining Jesus. And so now she feels as though she have a relationship with Jesus, that he knows me and I know him because I have spent quality time talking with him. I ain't got no help in here today. Y'all act like as if y'all don't go through these things in y'all lives, that you don't pray and you don't read the scriptures and you don't give everything you can to God, and then when trials come, you call on him and seem like he ain't even answer. He don't even show up at a time you in need. Here is my brother Elijah sick to death, and I sent word that you come, and yet somebody said, we told Jesus a few days ago, and by now he should have been here, but yet he ain't here. Imagine how we would feel in this type of situation. You in the hospital, you sick. You send word to tell pastor, not 2 or 3 days. You expected me to come the same day. Yeah, you called me at 10 o'clock at night and you want me to get there before 11 because he got a car. Forget about what he got going on. I need pastor to be at the hospital praying for me and my situation, because let's be real. When trials come and we don't always need pastor. But when we need him to drop everything he's doing and get there. This is how Mary felt about Jesus. She felt like he should have dropped everything he was doing and get here. This is not just a normal situation. This is not just, I'm asking you to come because we having a party. This is not me just asking you to come, Jesus, because we got a situation. Lazarus wasn't sick that 2 Tylenols and a good night's sleep couldn't fix. I feel like preaching. Y'all want me to preach? I'm going to preach. Lazarus was not sick like that. Lazarus was not having a flu. He didn't have the fever, and maybe in a week or maybe in a couple of days, it'll go away. Lazarus had a problem that they knew that if Jesus don't hurry up and show up, my brother is going to die. Why can I preach this like I feel it? Because I've been there. 2 years ago, sister laid in the bed and mama prayed. I watched her come out the hospital. My sister-in-law Teresa went in there and prayed. I saw her come out the hospital. My brother had his time to pray. I had my time to pray. I knew all 4 of these mighty people, and there was a time that all 4 of us went in the room together, grabbed hands over the bed. I said, I know God got to hear us. We prayed many times to you. My sister is sick, and she's about to die. Where are you, God? Lazarus, need to know a little bit about the story. He just wasn't a regular, normal person. Lazarus was a good man. Lazarus would do anything Jesus asked. Lazarus was a friend of Jesus. That when Jesus would come, they would stop everything, tell the servants to stop working, come in from the field. Jesus is here. They would take and lay food out, and they would lay drinks, and Jesus would get treated with the best of hospitality. And now here is Lazarus, who been so good to Jesus, who been a good, faithful friend, who been there with him in the time of need. Now he's sick. He's calling on Jesus. Where my good friend? Where's my brother that I know always got my back? Somebody I can count on in the time of trouble. Mary had sent word, and you heard the story. Jesus got the word. Let us be real about this. It's not just Lazarus we're talking about. It's not just Mary we're talking about. There are other folk just like y'all in this room. Because I want to preach like this thing like I feel it, because I feel like God set it up. Just like y'all in this room, there were 12 disciples that had seen this same man change water into wine. We seen this same man touch the cripple and they walked. We seen Jesus lay his hands on the blind and they recovered sight. And you got to be real today. I wish I had some people in here that ain't playing church but just real and just living life for what it's like. Can you imagine that you hanging out with a guy and this dude and you rolling and he's walking around and we done dropped everything we have to follow him and guess what? He done helped a lot of folk. And all of these 12 disciples knew how Lazarus treated him. Every time Jesus came by Lazarus' house, everything stopped. And Jesus got treated with the best. Got treated greatly. Amen. And then all of a sudden, the disciples are standing here looking because they overheard, no doubt, when the word came that Lazarus is sick. The disciples are probably saying to themselves, I know we get ready to leave. They probably didn't even wait for Jesus. They probably started packing up their clothes. I got some real folk in here. If I told Lexus that D called and said that his mother was sick, and Lexus probably go in the room and start packing her clothes. I know Dad and Mom and us, we ready to go up here to my boyfriend. We got to go see his mom because, Dad, you a pastor. We know we got to hurry up and get there. But if God is telling Pastor it ain't time to leave yet, Lexus will look at me and think, Dad tripping. You said you loved D. You said D was a good friend. You said D was a nice young man and all this. And now he calling for your help and you ain't going? You telling me and Mom that we going to the mall and hang out today. To the mall? I just said that D, forget his mom. D is sick. D is about to die. Lexus would look at it even different because this is my boyfriend. Dad, you a pastor. We got to get to D. No, Lexus, cool your coolers. I got to go get some sneakers from the mall, and Drill need to go get some earrings, and Josh want to go shopping because today's Saturday and we go see D. We won't be able to do this till Monday because we got church tomorrow. And Lexus is probably scratching her head, no doubt. Dad tripping. Not only is she scratching her head, she probably began to lose a little faith in me. She probably began to even talk about me to some of the other people in the room. She probably looked at Jay and said, Jay, you heard this? Dad said he ain't going. He gonna go shopping. She probably turned to Josh and say, Josh, You heard what Dad said? Yeah, I heard it. Yeah. You probably had in the 12, you probably had some dollars. Y'all know we got some dollars, don't you? You probably had somebody in the group that said, I tried to tell you. I tried to tell y'all about Pastor. I tried to tell y'all, you ain't listen. I tried to tell you, he ain't all about that. You should have went on and left. I told you what you should have did. Yeah, you got out there 12, you had some Thomases. Yeah. You had some others that was in that group that really didn't have the genuine love for Jesus. I'm trying to paint this picture.
Amen.
So Jesus didn't go. He waited. Just like us, a lot of times in our lives, we don't always know what Jesus is doing. We don't know why he's doing what he's doing. But the thing is, I know he knows what he's doing. Back to the lesson. So here's an occasion where he visited a home where sorrow was going. If I can pause for a minute and just take my time. 12:30. When I read this lesson today and I began to look at the scripture, I thought about Sister Ellis. And I thought about y'all in the church today, that we can come to church every Sunday. But think about when we give Jesus praise, we give Jesus glory, we give Jesus honor, we do all these things, and then somebody in our family, like Lazarus, die. Be real. I'm not saying that people are like this, but it even rocked me. It left me standing questions. God, I prayed for so many people, but yet when I asked you to heal my sister, you didn't do it. Can you imagine that week what I went through as a pastor? I've been pastoring for 12 and a half years. I done ran to the hospital, to the ICU, to emergency rooms, and prayed for so many different people. But can you imagine that week? I'm not talking about just, I want y'all to get real today. Can you imagine what I went through that week? I'm getting dressed to go to the funeral home to view her body. And I'm still asking God, why? Why didn't she die? Why didn't she live? Why did you take her anyway? Then we getting ready to prepare for the funeral or the homegoing service, and I'm asking him, why? We at the graveyard, I'm asking, why? I'm leaving the graveyard, I'm going home, and I'm now by myself, and I'm still pondering in my head, why? This is where Martha, this is where the disciples, this is where everybody was probably at in their mind. We're here at the funeral, the homegoing service of Lazarus, who's so-called Jesus' best friend. Amen. And then I want y'all to get this picture. Not only did Jesus not come, some of y'all may have read, some of y'all may be Bible scholars. He came strolling to the funeral. Now, can you imagine that? I want y'all to be real with me today. Can y'all imagine that? Why am I saying that to y'all today? Because guess what? Everybody that's in the church ain't spending quality time. See, Mary supposed to have been quality time spent with Jesus, knowing who he was, relationship, and so when he showed up at the funeral, if she really would have known him, she would have said, hey y'all, guess what? Jesus is here. Amen. He that can walk on the water, he that can make a cripple walk, he that can make blind and see, he that can change water to wine, he just showed up. She should have been giving him applause. She should have been celebrating. Christ is here. But instead, she was angry. She was mad. She was upset because she was like, that's when God had an opportunity to see the defining moment. The defining moment. See, it doesn't matter what you say out your mouth. I believe. You can tell people you saved, sanctified, filled all day. But when God wants to see the defining moment, when he walked in, she had an opportunity to either glorify him or she had an opportunity to be upset and pissed with him. That's why you got to be prayed up. You got to be prayed up. See, somebody ain't hearing me today. The reason why Moses didn't get to go to the promised land, because the folk, Moses did everything God told him to do. Moses had left his family and went down to Egypt to deliver the Hebrew children. He went to the mountain. He heard the word from God. He got instructions. He went to Egypt and he went to deliver. He did everything. All of the hell they carried him through. Now he's bringing them back down to the wilderness. Amen. Moses, who didn't eat pork. Moses never seen no water depart. No. That was part of a defining moment. Yes. Be careful with people. So God spoke to me. Yes. Moses didn't get to go to the promised land behind people. Right. Somebody got to hear me today. Right. Moses got so mad with the people that he took a stick and struck the rock. Yes. And God said, because of what you did, you can't go to the promised land. He allowed the people to get in his spirit, to get in his feelings, to get in his emotions, like I did this morning. God forgive me. You let the people, it's like milking a cow. Did all that great work, and then you kick the bucket over because of the people. Mary, she was so caught up in the moment. This time it wasn't the people, it was the situation. Some of y'all in here, you thought you got away because